Hello everyone, I'm your hostess with the mostest, 8-Second Gaming, and in today's video we are going to be talking about the 3 top heroes for each role in this new Season 5 patch. We're going to be keeping this as concise as possible, so we're not going to be mentioning any minor changes. But also, if you guys are looking to take your Overwatch skill to the next level, then you need to check out the GameLeap website right now. Over there we have top level coaches, including myself, creating the best, most highly informative guides to make you the best player you could possibly be. Doesn't matter if you want to get better decision making, positioning, aim, learn a new hero, doesn't matter, we have guides for you. So click the link in the description, pick yourself up a membership, and start to improve today. But let's jump straight in now and start off with tank. And let's talk about the changes that tanks are receiving. First off, Junker Queen's ultimate cost has been increased by 15%, making it 15% longer to obtain, as well as her shout giving herself 150 health instead of the previous 200. Roadhog's self-heal is also getting some changes. Now on top of giving himself all that health, he will also be making the healing applied to him amplified by 50%. It's basically just as if he was hit by on a grenade. Now although this Roadhog change is a step in the right direction, we really don't think it is going to be impactful enough to push him into the top 3, since Roadhog never really had any issues with his sustain. As for Junker Queen, her survivability did need a bit of a nerf, so this minus 50 health to her shout is a step in the right direction, and nerfing her ultimate will certainly push her out of the meta slightly, but we don't think that is close enough as she gains most of her value from her bleeding self-heals. So now to jump into the actual heroes, first off, Junker Queen, which is exactly why we are keeping Junker Queen at the number 1 spot here. Junker Queen gains her strength from cleaving through enemies and keeping her sustain up with her bleed. That hasn't been touched and therefore hasn't left her, meaning there's just no way that we can put her outside of the top 3, and frankly we strongly believe her to still be the strongest tank in the game. Taking the number 2 spot is Rampart. Now, not a lot of changes were made to the tank role nor the DPS or supports that work well with Rampart, which is why he gains his spot in the top 2. We have talked a lot about his ability to stomp opponents into the ground on this channel and on the website, as he can be nearly unkillable with his ability to rotate 3 sets of armor in the use of his ultimate. And although Junker Queen works well into him, we are sure he will still make it into the highest level of plays. And the 3rd place on the podium goes to Diva. You cannot go wrong with Diva. An extremely versatile tank that works well into basically any tank other than Zarya. That means you can play her into the other 2 on this list and find value just fine, even countering them on some maps where you can abuse your mobility to gain extra angles onto their backline. But with the tanks covered, we can now move into the DPS, and to start things off, let's talk about the DPS changes. And we have a few to talk about, so let's get straight into it. Cassidy received a considerably hilarious nerf where you can throw his grenade basically across the map. It does significantly less damage and can't be utilized in duels nearly as well. However, it helps against heroes like Reaper and Moira as it has a new effect named Hinder that disables their ability to use Wraith and Fade, as well as applying a 30% slow. Next up, they took away Hanzo's ability to one-shot Mei and Reaper in the head for some reason. His damage was nerfed by 5, and we aren't too sure who asked for that change, but thanks, I guess? Mei also received the most interesting change out of the DPS, and we aren't 100% confident it is a nerf or a buff, but we should assume buff for the time being. How slow now ramps up to a 70% slow that lasts for 1.5 seconds, and it applies an effect that allows you to deal an incredible plus 40 damage with your secondary fire. And next up we have Reaper. Now he cannot use his Wraith form while stuck by a grenade, trapped, or in Graviton Surge. So basically he is worse than he was before by a lot. And Tracer spread was also increased by 30%, and likely the worst change of all, Widow cannot one-shot headshot when they are beyond 50 meters. So with all the changes covered, let's talk about our top 3 heroes now. And claiming the number 1 spot is Sojourn. She works great with all of the tanks in the meta, and with Cassidy having significantly worse duel potential, no way she can't make the number 1 spot right now. Her railgun is untouched and has amazing snipe potential from all ranges, and has great consistent damage to output, which is exactly what you need in those brawls with a Junker Queen or Rampart. So yeah, she takes the top podium spot here. But the 2nd place goes to Genji. Genji has always been considered a great alternative to Tracer, and since she has been nerfed quite significantly, that puts him in a much more favorable spot. Nothing has changed about his kit, and a decent soft counter to him, Cassidy, has been nerfed. Before, that Sticky would just get in the way, but now without that threat, Genji can get in nice and safely. And our 3rd place goes to Ashe, a great pick into Sojourn and a game-winning ultimate. Yeah, you probably already knew we had to put her here, but don't get us wrong, Echo and Tracer are still amazing picks, but Ashe just had that burst damage that cannot be matched by many heroes. And Cassidy actually isn't too bad into Echo with his long-range grenade now, surprisingly enough. But now with that covered, let's talk about the supports. And Lifeweaver needed some big changes, so here they come. They increased his healing from 65 to 75. They gave him more damage and ammo to output that damage, gave his life grip a 50 healing effect and lower cooldown by 4 seconds. His ultimate now costs 6% more, and his pedal platform has a wider radius that you can walk on so you don't accidentally fall off. Now for Moira, she is worse than ever before. She can't use her fade when stuck with a grenade, trapped, etc. just like Reaper. So basically her ability to get in and out as she pleases can be taken away, so good job Blizzard. But now let's talk about the top 3 heroes, and to start things off, the number 1 spot on the podium, Zenyatta. Although he would make the top 3 regardless, the nerfs to heroes such as Tracer, Moira, and Reaper make him a bit less threatened. And he is strong into Junker Queen and Ramatra. He could be the greatest support going into Season 5, granting him the number 1 spot. But taking the number 2 on the platform is Kiriko. Off-angling couldn't be stronger as a support, as other flankers who would use the same routes to do so are much worse now. And since heroes such as Reaper will need to be cleansed to keep them safe, I think it gives her a tiny nudge in the right direction to put her into the top 3, even number 2. And the third on this list is Baptiste. Ana would have taken the spot otherwise, but since we expect a higher play rate of Kiriko, we believe her to be just nudged out of the top 3, although still extremely powerful if you want to play her. But Baptiste is an off-angling menace. Now we have talked about him a lot in past guides, and his damage output and healing output to help with brawls and even dives, and the solo play potential he has is great, giving him the number 3 spot. Now all in all, we're not gonna lie, it is a bit confusing what Blizzard was thinking with this patch, but that's not unusual for Blizzard. Moira has been terrible for a while now and she got worse. Hanzo's inability to one-shot Mei and Reaper was uncalled for to say the least, and Widow will be useless now. Although clearly a bad change, I'm sure a lot of people will not be complaining about that one. But let me know what you think heroes deserve a top 3 spot in the comments down below. And if you guys want to stay up to date with the latest and greatest Overwatch tips, tricks, and news, don't forget to smash the like and subscribe button. Thank you so for watching. Once again, I made Second Game, and I'll see you guys in the next one.